Good morning, everybody. Welcome along. This is Sunday, the 21st of June, 8 a.m. movement snack. If this is the one you're after, then stay with us. We'll just have a little bit of a chat first, a bit of a preamble. But if it's not, if you're looking for a different one, scoot your way back through the playlist on Facebook, find the one that you want, and we'll see you on the catch-up later on. So we'll just wait for some people to come and join us. Good morning, Bex. Welcome along. Welcome to Coventry. It's a cloudy day. It's raining. It's miserly. Ugh. It's one of those. Hey, Bex. Hopefully it's going to get better. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So this is our 8 a.m. movement snack. So this is our circulation booster. You are the one that... This is our circulation booster and our mobility. Set ourselves up for the day. Day ahead, a day full of additional movement minutes that will bring you 3 times a day. We'll bring you some additional movement minutes that you can add into your snack rucksack. Rain at last, George. You've got a good sprinkling of rain then. We've got some mizzle and drizzle here in the Midlands, in Coventry anyway. Looks as though it might brighten up. Looking at, I've got a bit of a different outlook today. I've turned the camera around. So I'm looking out into the back garden at this very moment, and it looks as though we might get a bit of drier weather a bit later on. It's rained all night, so we might. You never know. Fingers crossed. It's what you've been waiting for, though, George, by the sounds of it, a bit of rain. So I hope it does what you want it to do. Get those lawns watered. Good morning, Susanna. Welcome along. Rainy midsummer morning in Dundee. You've been up and out and saw the birds feeding on the River Tay. Got very wet. Ooh. Nice start to the day, though, going out and seeing the birds. Down by the river. Sounds good. Hopefully not too wet. Hopefully you're drying out. Let us know as you come on board. Say hello. It's always nice to know who's joining us here on these movement snacks. I found a different button on my phone today. So it sort of made things a bit brighter. I feel a bit brighter today. Hopefully the picture's okay for you. Hopefully the sound's okay as well. Getting ourselves into this little preamble, little chat about what's been going on. Did you manage to get any crowbarring in yesterday? Did you manage to get some additional movement minutes over and above the additional movement minutes that we sort of bought with you, we spent with you? Good morning, Jane. You're in. Plenty of room. Come on board. Let us know when you're here, folks. Say hi. There's always a room for everybody in the Movement Mansion. All you got to do is say hello. Let us know what you've been up to. So, did we manage to get some crowbarring done yesterday? Did we manage to get some additional minutes into our snack rucksack? That'd be good to know. Good morning, Lowton. Good to have you with us. Happy Father's Day. Say to any fathers out there. Bit of a what sort of start would I say? I got up this morning and never eat breakfast till a little bit later on. Made myself a nice cup of tea in the morning. Threw the back door open, even though it's miserly and rainy out there. Nice to get some fresh air in. And next door, are cooking a full English breakfast by the sounds of it, or the smell of it. I can smell bacon cooking, and oof, nice way to start the day, hey? Morning, Bob. Wet in Amber. Oh, are they? I thought they'd given up. I thought they'd retired. Wet. They're still going. Blimey. There you go. I gather it's raining. Hi, Dave. Good morning to you, Margaret. Good to have you on board with us. Welcome along. Not good in Chesterfield. It's pouring. Hey, it's only water. Ironing on tiptoe challenge this morning for you, Bob. Had a long walk. I can't see the white with my t-shirt. Look, there we go. I need to cover this up. Had a long walk about the village, Bob. George, sorry, yeah. With the family yesterday. That's great. With the roasted sun, you wilted. So that rain is welcome today for you then. Francis, good morning in from Bristol. Good morning, Apostolis. Hope you're well. Bit cloudy today, but it's still okay. In Greece, you never know. Sun might come out. There's still time. hopefully we all see some sun. So yeah, happy Father's Day to any fathers out there. Hopefully you have a great day. Hopefully it stays a nice day. Good morning, Vivian. Good to have you with us. Vivian's in the house. There's still plenty of room at the back, folks. Come along and say hello. If you haven't said hello already, just drop us a little line. Let us know you're here. The collective checking in. Good morning, Sheila. Good to have you with us. Good to have you on board. We're coming up to 8 o'clock. We'll get ready for our 3, 2, 1 in a moment. This is our first movement snack of the day, our additional movement minutes over and above everything else we already do. Ooh, extra creases down the seams for me, Bex. What, you mean like a tram line? I remember those when I was at school. Mom, I had my shirt, tram lines down here. No, not good, not good. Anyway, let's not get started about ironing. Right, it's 8 o'clock. Let's have our 3, 2, 1. But before we do that, just tempted you there, we'll just say a quick hello to Maddie, who's just snuck in at the back. Morning to everybody. We'll be doing this later. She's out to surprise her husband. Well, I hope the husband enjoys his surprise, Maddie. Good morning, Adil. If you want to get rid of those comments before we start, just sweep them to the right-hand side. Hi, Angela, in from Wilmslow. And hi, Trevor. Welcome along. Sweep those comments to the side, to the right, if you want to get rid of them off the screen. Okay, let's go for our 3, 2, 1. Hey, a little bit better. Good morning, everybody. Today is Sunday, the 21st of June, 2020. This is our 8 a.m. movement snack. My name is Dave Montgomery from Later Life Training, and this is our first snack of the day. Our aim to put additional movement minutes into our benefits bag for the day. Welcome to the Movement Mansion. Before we get started, we'll have a little set of our posture. But now, think about how you want to do this. You can do it in a standing position. If you're doing it in a standing position, make sure you've got some external support. So I've got a wall, I've got a worktop here, and I've got a fixed chair over here. Or if you're going to go into a seated position, be in an active seated position. So sit tall. Yeah. Okay, let's set our posture before we do anything else. So bring yourself in. We're going to stand with the heels in line with our knees and our knees in line with our hips. Grow an inch as we lift tall from our hips. So grow here, an inch between your ribs and your hips. Shoulders up, back and down. Head parallel, chin parallel to the floor. All right, so imagine you're lifting a little bit taller through that neck as well. In our seated position, bottom, sitting bones, they are our feet. So in our sitting position, if we're at the back of the chair, firstly, we're going to hip walk to the front of the chair. Sitting in our front third of the chair, our feet are flat on the floor, knees in line with our hips. We lift tall again from our hips, so grow this extra inch here. Tall through the neck, shoulders back, down and together, bringing those shoulder blades in together. We start with our circulation booster. Let's go straight for it today. So straight in for our march. Okay, so ball of the foot coming down onto the floor first and rolling through to your heels. If I just show you from the side, if you're utilising your support in a standing position, then hold on to it, use your support. In a seated position, your march is there. This can be a little bit tiresome onto the hip flexors. It's a big move as far as your hips are concerned. So in a seated position, if you want to bring this down to a foot pedal, then please feel free to do so. You can also have a little bit of a toe tap in front. Yep. Think about your ankle, feet and toes. So we're coming onto the ball of the foot, but right onto the toes firstly. So just where the toes meet the ball of the foot, and we're rolling through to our heel. So in our standing position, think about feet, balls, toes, feet, ball, toes, yeah? That's the position we want. So we're really activating through our ankles, getting our ankles, feet and toes included. All right, let's put a march in there as well with our, with our march. Now the movement with our arm is focused on the shoulder. So relatively 90 degrees and a straight arm here at the bottom, driving that elbow backwards so we focus onto that shoulder movement. If you feel steady and stable in a standing position, then both arms. If not, one arm at a time. Every now and again, take as many steps as you need to change position to the other side with your support, and off you go. Obviously don't look over your shoulder. I just wanted to make sure that you could see my arm moving. Alternatively, if you've got your support here, then obviously you can do one arm at a time, change to the other arm. Okay, so this circulation booster is all about switching the body on. It's getting us into that mode for the mobilization we're going to do. So we're starting to warm the joints a little bit. We're starting to mobilize those joints. We're getting the blood pumping around the body, getting the blood to where we want it into our muscles. Loosening the joints as well and warming them a little bit. So that's what our circulation booster is. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It gives our circulation a bit of a boost. I say switches us on, ready for the mobilization that we're going to do. Now, if you've been sat for a while, great idea when you first stand up, a little bit of mobilization. Get the body moving before you go and do something. All right. Seated position, arms for yourself. You have your march here, but if you may also want to look at this. So, drawing the arms into the side, cupping the hands in front, keeping that march going, all those heel lifts at the same time. You might find this a bit of a different move that you can utilise as well, rather than that arm swing. And certainly if you've got arms on the sides of your chair, then that's a good one there to use to guide in. Okay, let's take a little pause there. We should feel as though we want to take a deep breath or a couple of deep breaths, but we should feel out of breath. Excuse me. Okay, so top triangle, trunk trio, ankle, feet and toes, as we said. All right, so starting with our top trio, we're going to look at our shoulders, and the movement here is a lift up towards our ears and a lower down. Now the arms are staying relatively relaxed at the side of the body. Shoulders are in position, so we've taken them back and down, and we're lifting towards our ear and lowering. Same in our seated position. The important thing here is the shoulders come up, the ears don't come down. So we don't scrunch our neck. We keep the neck nice and long and we lift towards the ears. So lengthen through your neck and lift your shoulders up towards your ears. 3, 4 or 5 of those. And if you want to do one side at a time, you can. You might, if you've got less mobility on one side, you might find it easier to do one side at a time. But if you can, do both at the same time. Okay, take a pause after you've done your 3, 4 or 5, and we're going to roll the shoulders. So standing sideways on for you, we lift towards the ears, draw them back, down, and as we come down, we bring those shoulder blades in together. So it's a controlled motion, lifting, drawing them back, shoulder blades in together, and down. Exactly the same in our seated position. Support if you need it, and then you could do one arm at a time, change to the other side with as many steps as you need to do the other side. But really think about and focus on that movement. So as you're moving your shoulders up and round, feel that mobilization within that joint, feel the joint moving. We utilize our shoulders all the time. Everything we do with our arms usually initiates from our shoulders. So we reach forward, we go to pick a cup up, all of those things, although we may feel as though this part of our arm is doing the work, but you've got that movement from your shoulder firstly. All right, so 3, 4 or 5 of those, and if you've taken it to one side at a time, then make sure you do both sides. And you may notice that you have more mobility on one side than the other, and that's fine. Work on it, and we can start to increase the mobility in the side that appears to have less. All right. Okay. Second part of our top triangle then. So eye line to the front. Now, if you're going to do this in a standing position, take a bit of a wider stance, utilize some support. We're going to turn our head. When we turn our head, it can challenge our balance. So if you want to do it in a seated position, you can. Okay. This is the move. So eye line to the front. Turning the head to the side, towards the shoulder, back into the centre, brief pause, and then to the other side. Now, if you feel challenged balance-wise, as I say, bring it into a seated position. If you're coming from a standing to a seat, make sure you can feel the chair behind you firstly, lower yourself down with control, and then take a little hip walk to the front of the chair. Turn your head to the side, little pause, in the centre, and then back the other way. Wide stance when you're standing, support if you need it. As I say, when we move our head, it can challenge our balance. we're continually moving our head during the day. We're usually doing something else with it at the same time. So we might be reaching to get our seatbelt. We might be looking behind to put a coat on, crossing the road, all of those things. So control that motion. It's not a big fast move from side to side. That little pause to readjust in the centre before you take it across to the other side. 3, 4 or 5 on each side. And then when you're done with that, let's move on to our final one of our trio. All right, so standing tall, you can feel a little nobule at the top of my spine here. And we're going to try and straighten that out. The way that we do it, let me come forward a bit so you can see. If I place my fingers onto my chin and ease back. Eye line stays to the front though, so we create this little double chin. Here, so 2 ways of doing it. Fingers onto your chin, and ease it back. Or keep the fingers where they are, come back and forward. Exactly the same in our seated position. Again, if you want to do this in a standing position, utilise some support if you need to. In our seated position, exactly the same movement. 3, 4 or 5 of those, and then go back in for a little march, a little bit of a circulation booster again. Both arms, one arm, seated or standing. Remember, if you're in a seated position, you can do those toe taps in front rather than this march if you find it starts to really tire here. It's a big movement as far as our hip flexors are concerned. When we're sat down, it's that big a motion when we're sat down. When we're stood up, it's a smaller motion into our hip flexors, although they are still working. Okay, so we're going to go from our top triangle to our trunk trio. All right, so in a standing position, a wider stance. Make sure your feet are in line with your shoulders. Support is there if you want it. First move is a trunk rotation, okay? So a trunk twist. And what we're going to do, keep the hips locked to the front. We're going to turn to the side, back into the centre with a little pause. Now, if you're utilising support, turn towards your support, do it all on one side, and then change your position to support yourself on the other side and do it on the other side. If you feel comfortable with it in a standing position, you feel steady and stable, then you can do it without holding on. Focus on your hips, staying still. Now, if you find that you can't quite keep those hips still, what you might find is by coming into a seating position, you may find it a little bit easier. In our seated position, our bottom is on the chair. The weight is even across our sitting bones. And as we turn, we keep that weight even. So if that weight starts to shift, if you feel it shifting from one side to the other, you're starting to move those hips. And it's a lot easier to keep those hips fixed in a seated position and migrate it to a standing position when you feel comfortable and you can feel that you have no movement into those hips. 3, 4 or 5 on either side as far as that is concerned. And then move on to our second of our trunk trio. This is our side bends. So in a standing position, I have my support here. I've got a wider stance. If I'm going to use my support, I'm going to bend towards my support. Do as many as I need to on one side, so the 3, 4 or the 5, change to the other side and do it there. Alternatively, if you feel steady and stable in your standing positions, tall, lifting still, so always keep this posture on your radar. Ease one hand down towards your knee as the other hand comes up towards your hip. Little pause in the centre to reset and down the other way. In our chair, we can use the arms of the leg. The legs of the chair, sorry. So we can ease down with the arm down the leg of the chair. Back up to the pause and then the other way. The important thing with this is that we keep the body in line. So as we come down, look, I'm going straight down to the side. I'm not coming forward or backward. We're isolating into that single plane of motion. We sometimes say, imagine yourself between 2 panes of glass and that's the only movement you've got is that there. You can't go this way and you can't go that way. Why on earth you'd ever find yourself between 2 panes of glass, I don't know. But hey, there you go. It's that motion down there and up. So we're just leaning to the side, we're coming back in. In your standing position, give yourself a wide base of support. So shoulders width at least. So as you come over, our shoulders are in line with our feet. We're not tipping our centre of balance out. 3, 4 or 5 on either side. Have a pause there and let's move in to our back extension. So most important thing here is the pelvis stays locked. So we're not going to tip the pelvis as we move forward. We're not going to take it there and we're not going to take it forward, all right? The pelvis stays where it is and we take the back across. Can you see that? I'm going to need to turn this way a little bit. Back, little arch in that back and then come forward. In our seated position, if I show you from the side here, this might look, you might get a better view from here. Sitting tall, I'm going to move back and in. And again, this is one where sitting down may be a little bit easier for you because you'll definitely feel that pelvis tip and we don't want that to happen. We want to keep the pelvis still so we isolate into our spine here. So taking it back and coming forward. You may also want to hold on. Yep. What you could do is have something to lean on and come back. But if you are leaning on something, make sure you've got some clearance. So it's no good leaning against the wall because you're not going to get a great deal of movement there. Here I've got the work surface, which is just by my hips, and I can feel that I'm moving back. My pelvis is staying there. I've got the contact is staying the same continually as I take it back and forward. Eye line stays to the front, so we're not looking up, we're keeping the eye line there. So a bit like when we do our head back movement, we're keeping in line and we get a little bit of a double chin. 3, 4 or 5 of those. Let's have a little march, a little circulation booster again. One arm, 2 arms, seated or standing, foot pedals or march, just to give ourselves a little boost before we come down to our AFT, our ankle, feet and toes. So important to us, okay? So we've got the top trio, we've got the trunk, the top triangle, sorry, the trunk trio, and then the feet are a trio on their own, look. Ankle, feet and toes. It's all the threes. So, to mobilise our ankles, hold on, support-wise if you're in a standing position. You can stand here, but make sure you've got some room available so you've got that movement there. What might be better is to stand sideways onto your support. The leg that is supporting you is the one that's closest to your support, and that knee stays slightly soft, we don't lock it out. From there, we lift this other foot, put the toes onto the floor, and for the first couple, you may want to have a glance down. Toe on the floor, lift, and put your heel in the same place. So if I turn slightly sideways for you, here look. Toe, lift, and heel in the same place. So really extending through the ankle, feet, and toes. Standing position, make sure you've got support there if you want it. It may just be that you don't necessarily need to support yourself on it, but just having it there to touch, to place your hand on, so you're not actually putting any support onto it, but that having that there will help as far as your balance is concerned. We don't want to challenge our balance. Seated position, a couple of options for you. So in our seated position, if we're going to do that flex forward and back, take your feet a little bit further forward first than we would do normally. That gives us the space to be able to do that ankle, feet and toes. Our other option is we can sit back into our chair, so hip walk to the back of the chair, extend one leg out at a time, knee soft, point the toe away and then bring it in towards your shin. So this point and flex motion gives us that rotation, mobilization through our ankle. It's not a rotational move. Yeah. Now, as you push away, you should feel the muscles here in the shin activate, and as you come back in, you should feel the muscles in the back of your leg, your calf activate. But you don't want to feel a stretch. So if you feel a stretch, bend your knee a little bit more. Yeah. You just want to feel that it's working, but not stretching. 3, 4 or 5 on each side. So if you're in your standing position, supporting, put your feet down on the floor, as many steps as you need to turn. Set yourself up again. and off you go with the other leg. In your seated position, put your foot down, bring your other foot up, set it into position with the extension and the flex with the foot out, or again, toe and heel, whichever is more comfortable for yourself. It's about mobilizing through those ankles, and we use the ankles continually throughout the day. Walking, stepping, getting out of our chairs, everything, we have ankle movement within there. So we want to really make sure that we mobilize those ankles. Think about the rest of the day and the rest of your movements. Lunchtime, you're going to be doing some strength type movements, and you will be utilizing your ankles with movements in there. When you come to this afternoon with your sway and stretch with Kelsey, then that motion of swaying, the swaying motion, the three-dimensional movement, your ankles are working there. So you've got mobilization, you've got strength, and you've got flexibility, and all of those three together will help as far as our stability is concerned and our balance. Okay, that's us done. That's our mobilization done for the day. Please keep trying to do some mobilization throughout the rest of the day as well. Remember, if you come from a seated position to a standing position, do a little bit of circulation boost. You have a little march or a little foot pedal on the floor before you go and do anything. Think about the things that you're doing during the day and how you can focus on a particular part of your body. So if we're in the kitchen making breakfast, rather than twisting and turning like this, try and isolate and rotate through your trunk. Twist through your trunk, keeping your hips locked, so you're mobilizing through there. Great thing to do continually. Every now and again, just reset that posture with those shoulder rolls. Give them a little bit of a roll, especially if you've been in one position for a while. You know, if you've been reading the newspaper or something, a little roll of those shoulders to mobilize them, but it will also put you into a good postural position. That's me done for this morning. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Father's Day to any dads out there. Look after yourself. Bex will be with you at lunchtime and Kelsey will be with you at 4 o'clock. I'll be with you at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, so have a great rest of the day and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.